The issue for this particular storm was this was a very fast and heavy storm. It came down very heavy in a very short period of time, and you could plow the street and come back in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it was like it was never there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an overnight storm.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of people moving around in the evening, on Sunday evening when the storm began. And then the storm ended around 1 o'clock, and before the last snowflake stopped, people were out trying to shovel the driveways, walkways, and trying to drive around. So it posed a lot of challenges that aren't normal.
Yeah,
plus also people were getting stuck. So once they get stuck in an intersection, we could not go down that street.
Exactly.
And that accumulated the snow on top of the snow. And that's how a lot of cars were there for 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
We knew we were going to have significant amounts of snow, so obviously we made some staff changes. We brought all staff on board. We canceled all vacations, all furloughs. Brought the entire staff on, whereas normally we don't use the entire staff. But as far as the equipment is concerned, we always run 2 pickups, 2 plows per zone. There's 5 zones. We break the town up into 5 zones. I normally run 2 pickups, plows in each zone, and I run 2 large trucks on each side of town.
Okay.
So even on a 1-foot storm, we normally run a good amount of plows so that we can make sure the roads are open from the beginning to the end of a storm, curb to curb. We're unique here. We're not like a lot of the bedroom communities. We're a small city. And the reality of it is we only have a 4-hour window to get things cleaned up here. The first coffee shop opens at 6. And people want to be here for the 4 coffee shops downtown to have coffee at 6. So I need to have the street squared away by then. And obviously the last bar closes at 2.
I see.
So it doesn't leave me a wide window of opportunity to get things done here. And at the same time, residents want to get out and go to work or wherever they're going to go.
One of the complaints we heard was that perhaps the borough didn't jump on the storm early enough. Is that correct? Do you just
That's not true. We pre-salt, and up to 3 inches we salt, and then after 3 inches we drop the plows.
Mm-hmm.
We've always done that, and nothing's different. That's a standard.
The crew was here at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, our crew started.
It didn't start snowing until 10:30, 11.
We actually had crew here at 7. We had set up crew here at 7. I got here with those guys, and they.
You're talking Sunday morning before the storm.
Sunday morning, 7 a.m. And we had crews here prior to that on Saturday, making preparations.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's, this was a significant storm, and you can't compare this with other storms. This is an unusual event. Doesn't happen every year, hopefully. And we were dealt a tough hand, but not we. Everybody was. It's Red Bank and all the towns in the area were all got hit a blow.
Just to be clear, there were no equipment issues or manpower issues. How about budget issues?
I haven't worked out all the numbers yet. The numbers are still coming in. And John, let me just clear this up. You're talking in the past tense, as most people do. We're still fighting this storm. The storm is not over for us. We're still fighting. So although people are getting on their way now and things appear to be back to normal, for us it's far from back to normal. I'm still opening up streets. I'm still removing piles of snow. We're still working on that particular snowstorm.
Give me an example or a location or two of where you're still digging out.
We just got done. That's where we were. We were doing an assessment of every street in the borough to determine what streets had to be cut back and to what degree they need to be cut back. Some get cut back on both sides, and some are getting on one side. There's piles of snow still in the parking lots that where people can't park. So people that have permits, they can't park in their spaces. So we're trying to get those done as well. Our guys came in on Sunday, and they worked 12-hour shifts. And guys were on vacation. We had a lot of people on vacation this week, the last week of the year. And they all gave up their vacations and they came back to work. And they worked around the clock. I got to tell you, I'm beyond proud of the staff. I got no complaints. I think we had one injury, minor injury. One injury, and but they performed very, very well. This department stepped up to the plate beyond the shadow of a doubt from where I'm sitting. This particular storm, the plows wouldn't go down the street. So this was not one of those plowable storms.
Can I interrupt you there?
Yeah.
Can you explain that? I think a lot of people think it's a plow, it's a big truck.
Yeah.
Anything that's in its way is going to get pushed out of the way.
No, I wish that were the case. We have pretty good sized tandems. I have 4 tandems that we use, and they've always moved just about anything. This was such an enormous amount of snow that came down so rapidly. The plows were getting stuck as well. They just couldn't push it. So by the time you got the plows out of the snow and it kept coming down, they just wouldn't go through. So what we did was, and other towns as well, we use our front loader and go down the middle of the roadway with the loader. Every street had to be done with the loader first. And then we take the plow, and he would use half a plow and push to either side. And that was the other problem. We got complaints that the roads weren't open curb to curb, which a lot of people are used to. But the magnitude of this system and the timeline, when a storm ends at 12 noon, you really have a tough time playing catch up, because at 12:01, everybody's on the streets and they expect the streets to be open, and that just isn't the case. So we did all we could do to give you access to the roads. Some people waited a couple days to get their roads open, just to get a path down the road. So it was get a path on the primaries, get a path on emergency routes, open up the emergency buildings, and then start your residentials, open up your commercial, so that people could move around.
Finally, with regard to the downtown and the prioritization in terms of where you go with your plows and what gets done first, we heard some complaints that the downtown was neglected, that there was no place for customers to come in and park either on the street or in parking lots. What's your answer to that?
Well, I have an obligation to a lot of people. I have an obligation to the residents of this town. I have an obligation to emergency services to make sure that they can get to our residents. I have an obligation to the business district. We have a vibrant business district. And again, as I said, I have a 4-hour window and to get that business district open. In this type of snow event, where I normally can open up the whole town at pretty much the same time, this one wasn't the case, and I had to somewhat prioritize, and I did that. So if it depends on who you talk to, there weren't a lot of happy people in the beginning of the storm. As we progressed a couple days down the road, people started coming back saying, you know what, you guys didn't do as bad as we thought. This was a lot of snow. I would invite you to go down and photograph Count Basie Park, the parking lot, photograph Marine Park parking lot, and photograph the north end of Maple Avenue. And you'll see the amount of snow that we've transported out of the streets, we've actually removed from the streets.
That's where it went.
That's where it went. And we're running out of space, and we have a lot more to do.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much, John.